Hi, everybody. This is what I look like in the morning. Oh, good morning. I feel like a rock and roll. That's my whole theme of today, rock and roll. I had a funny epiphany. I was seeing a lot of eights and 11s yesterday. It really had nothing to do with my life, but the numbers kept flashing at me. 11, 8, 11, 8, 11, 8, 11. So here's my computer. Like I told you guys, I am no techie. So when you guys are flash numbers, like I have, I go to Gematria, Gematrix.org. I'll put that in the description box below. And, oops, not 611. So I'm typing here 811 because that kept flashing me. And this kind of does all the calculations for you. And then the results that come back are very fascinating. So, hello. Oh, shoot. Sorry, you guys. My computer's a little slow. Come on, computer. So, while that's loading, I'll boot up the next page because I had a very interesting. I wanted it to be a big surprise. I want to wait. Oh, this is so worth it. Hold on. So I've cracked two mysteries. This is why I love Gematrix because I don't make this stuff up. I tell you. Come on, computer. So, all right, here we go. So, all these different words come up under 811. Their connection to Jewish, Gematria, Gematria, English, simple, and the searches, right? 187 is attached to Ku Klux Klan, which is very interesting. So these words basically come in free radicals. So you're gonna have to skim through it all and try to see which ones make sense. Like discernment comes from God, things like that. Ku Klux Klan comes up twice, so they're actually in the news right now. There are things like a heads up about San Francisco Giants parade. None of these were really like popping out to me. Shakespeare's treason. These are things that like I would research when I'm bored. Ottoman. That's I'm gonna put this in my search so I don't forget. Ottoman ancient history. Okay, so for instance, we saw Ottoman Antichrist, right? Ottoman Empire was one of the mightiest and longest lasting dynasties in the world, in world history, sorry. The Islamic run superpower ruled large areas of the Middle East, Eastern Europe, North Africa, Egypt, For more than 600 years, the chief leader, known as the Sultan, was given absolute religious and political authority over his people. This is still continuing. That's why we really, 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 really like the Gematria, because it gives you the direction and then you take it and you run with it and you find all these different correlations. So we're looking at the Ottoman Empire. Stop. Yes, I'll proceed, even though I'm probably getting hacked. Anyway, let's go back to my main topic. Now I'll come back to this. Duo Ascension, California. So I don't know if you guys paid attention to anything I've said in the past, but I told you that there was a split. I think that was about a year ago. There's two different case scenarios of ascension. Anyways, we're still going down. Confucius is. Oh, I remember Confucius in high school. If you studied it. So there's still a lot of zombie attack. Let's ignore that one. There was two that were pretty big. Cortex is a big false flag. Let's see what else. Messenger of the light sign. Some of you are getting that. There was one about Go Obama. And come on, heart from mind control. We know that. This is why I don't fly on airplanes. I notice people get jet lag or they get headaches, nosebleeds, ear bleeding when they're in airplanes. HARP is a airborne, when you're going through their levels of altitude, you're going through the HARP rays, blah, 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 blah. Here's where I was like, oh my gosh. I just point to it, I won't say it out loud. This says a lot. This says a lot too, because essentially there's only 2 seasons per year. There's only spring and summer. Spring and summer, spring and summer, spring and summer. And I had an epiphany about yesterday, because it was a winter, no, what's that called? Snow moon? Snow moon? I'm going to get back to you guys about the snow moon too. This is funny also. There are 2. There's not 1. There's 2 of it. There's red and there's blue. So going back to when you saw Duo Ascension, that has a lot to do with it. It's very confusing. But the one that caught my eye first, because I love history. Stop searching for meaning. It was, come on. Oh, I can't find it. Anyway, it said, wife of Enlil is Ra El, Isis Ra Elohim. That's what we're not supposed to be idolizing, because Yahweh was the one who created Isis. They were all blood sacrificial in order to instate his position as ruler. He sacrificed his own creation. Isis was Eve, and you have Osiris, who was Ra after killing his son Horus. Wait, that's so confusing. So anyway, you have Horus, Osiris, who were the same, 2 in 1. There was Adam before, and an Adam after eating the seed from Eve. And there's that same dog that keeps barking every time that I record this message. This is what happens when you live in an apartment complex with someone who doesn't intend positivity on you and knows you're recording something. Okay, so anyways, it said in this, I must have passed it, but it said Nin Lil, wife of Enlil. And I thought Lilith. So the two are the same because they say that Nin Lil was sky goddess, right? So if we look here, beep, 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 in Sumerian religion, Enlil, lady of the open field, lady of the wind, etc., etc., etc. It's the origin of the Hebrew Lilith legend. She was the first wife of Adam. You can also say that after Lilith was, she didn't want Adam. She was like, nope, I don't like him. I don't want him. Ugh, you know, she wanted a man. She wanted a god. So long story short, they took Eve and dressed her as a mimic of the bird, ascended bird. That's why you get the wings. So I'm just trying to put two and two together. I was trying to find one site. This is a little different than on your iPhone. I was trying to do Lilith. Is this it? Lilith. Please be it. Please be it. No, this isn't it. But they called her the goddess of the. Oh, there it is. It's in this one too. The goddess of the full moon. And then they say the goddess of the white moon. And I was like, white moon, white moon, white moon, white moon. Snow moon, that was yesterday, right? So there's a connection to how they title these moons, and there's a connection. So that was my epiphany, was that it's just crazy that, you guys like you celebrate these wolf moons and blood moons and blah blah and blah, but let's try to alleviate ourselves of putting moons before our gifts, because they're not. This is actually a slap in my face too, because the last time I performed as a dancer, it was during the blood moon wolf super whatever that was. That was my birthday weekend too, so I thought, ooh, cool, this is fascinating. So that was epiphany number one, that the moons are named after the the aligning of these past Sumerian and Mesopotamian characters that were idolized back then. I don't know how the dates and times aligned with all of that. I just knew that yesterday was 8/11. Sorry, it was 18. The date was the 18th yesterday. And 2019 equates to 11. And if you eliminate the 2 and make it Roman numerals, you have 2 brackets. So that 1, bracket, 8, bracket, 8, bracket. Or if you put them together, it's bracket, 9, bracket. So something happened there. I don't know that part of the math, but I know that the moon being named what it was had a lot to do with this chick. We don't need to go into the definition of that. And then the Ottoman Empire, which was fascinating. One day I'm going to figure out how to do these PowerPoints. So what's fascinating about anything that was taken over by and Lil and Inky and the you see at the Byzantine Empire, the reign, da 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 da. So all of these different Middle Eastern, you can tell that they are controlled. There's a crow trying to interrupt my conversation. They are controlled because the colors of their flag have either green, white, and red, or the ones that have been wiped out and are controlled, period, are black, green, and white. So the ones yet to still have their rivalry, their battle, red is a symbol of, shut up. Red is a symbol of, like when you see Trump with the red tie, that means this is a symbol of war. It's a symbol of bloodshed. It's a symbol for leadership. This is why Superman is red and blue. But when they're black, white, and green, this means that they are already wiped out. They're not in their own power anymore. They are controlled. So this is why what's going on in the Middle East. Oh, just to put this in a nutshell. Middle East, let's say everywhere is taken over, except for where Eden is. Where Eden is, you still have the colors red, white, and green. This is why there's war in Afghanistan. This is why we haven't left the war. Okay, another mystery got revealed. Moving on to another. Actually, I'm going to make this into another video. I'll do it 2 times. So, I figured out in my dream, and I woke up this morning and I saw the weather report. And they had, you know, when they do the news reports like this, they'll say like, California, this is where I am. So they have the mountains, the ocean is here. So you saw 45 degrees, you saw 32, you saw 2 at the mountains. The valley, let's say it was 20. So what was fascinating, focus camera, focus. What's fascinating is on the other side of the world, let's say there's Florida, there's New York, you see -2, you see 35 in Florida, let's just say. And I was like, wait a minute. If the earth is a sphere, right? And if the sun is way out here, the coldest temperature of a globe earth would be on the outer skirts away from the sun where the moon is. And the hottest would be on the side of here. So if we're one country, if we're away from the sun, we should technically be almost the same temperature. Because no matter if it's up or down, the North Pole, South Pole, it should be freezing here and freezing up here and somewhat normal in the middle. But this is only when we are facing away from the sun. When we're at the sun, the hottest should be at the top, the coldest should be at the bottom, and the middle should be lukewarm. So then I had an epiphany that if to prove flat earth is legit, let's say here's Washington. Oh, I can't write that fast. I'm trying to hurry up. And let's say here is the Empire State Building, and then let's say the Eiffel Tower. So if the mountains were 2 degrees because it's cold, Chicago was, let's say, -4 degrees. And let's say the Eiffel Tower, I don't know, let's say they were 10. You can kind of measure by altitude and Fahrenheit that things are flat because the coldest would be at the top, the warmest would be at the bottom. And so your desert plains and whatnot being what here? Desert, valley, your hillsides, and your mountains. You can determine by altitude and weather in Fahrenheit and let's say if there was a mountain across the country, you can tell that it's flat because the temperature, I don't know if you guys get what I'm trying to say. This was my epiphany. Because if everything is round, let's say Australia is down here and they're in summer, it would make absolutely no sense if the sun is on the opposite side. This means that they would go through summer every day because they're rotating. Summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter, fall. But if it's flat, and their altitude is higher, if their altitude is lower, there's more fire lower to the core. Higher only means that it's away from the core, which makes it colder. Don't they say heat travels up? Anyways, I digress. This is for your flat earthers. I flip-flop. I think there's a dome. And anyways, I'll let you guys go. Have a good day.